Rick. So we've been talking about maintaining our personal voice within a committed relationship, intimacy, and looking at really practical ideas on communication. And I
Mhm.
really kind of want to look at how to co-create goals that are both personal and part of the big picture within our relationships. We've been talking about how first you need to create trust, and trust is about looking at the big picture. Well, let's look at the big picture.
Mhm.
How do you have that conversation, and yeah, how do you get there?
Cool. One thing that came up when you were describing what to talk about next was is being upfront with everything that we have felt shamed or felt was out of place before. So
In other relationships,
in other
or
relationships or views about yourself. So having that conversation with your partner can look like I want to tell you what makes me most vulnerable. Like when I am, sometimes I may just inexplicably want to cuddle for long periods of time. I want to warn you now that, this is part of who I am.
hmm,
Um,
well, how do
some
you
things, go
how do
ahead.
you okay, I hear that, and that makes me giggle a little bit because it's so endearing and so much like you, like this man that I know and love. But how do you look at the stuff that's a little bit more, I would say, raw for some
More
people?
edgy. Yeah.
Yeah, more edgy. What comes up for me is like, if I were having that conversation,
Mhm.
being vulnerable there would be like me saying, I need to let you know that sometimes, um, if I'm not in my spiritual practice a lot, that I get disconnected from myself, and I turn into a mean bitch to the people around me,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and I how do I bring that up to you in a way that I don't want you to get crazy and look at me and be like, who the hell are you when that happens?
Right.
Um, and
Just like that. It can look just like that. Like I am horrified to becoming a bitch on a broom when I am not in my spiritual practice for days on end.
yeah.
And for me, that is also when I am really tired and really exhausted, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like all my masculinity goes out the window, and I need to be taken care of um,
Hmm.
and nurtured.
Yeah. What's really interesting is that when I'm tired, what was coming up for me as you were saying that is this image of me a few weeks ago getting off a plane here in Denver, and it was late and there was nobody to pick me up. I had to go find a shuttle or a taxi. And if you've ever been to
Mhm.
Denver, the airport is out
Yeah,
in the boondocks. It's so far away
yeah,
from Boulder. Um, and I'm wheeling my little luggage, and I'm not happy to be home because I was just left like the most beautiful experience, and I'm tired. And I am ugly tired, and I'm walking around, and people are like making eye contact with me, and usually I'm that girl who's sunshine all the time. It's like, here it
yeah.
is. In that moment, no femininity. It was just like this gruffy, all my masculinity sitting there pushing forward, saying, "Get out of my way, or I'm going to screw you over." And I don't want to. And I remember sitting there going, "This is not how I want to show up in life." But at the same time, it was also me taking care of myself. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, those are the moments that those are the opportunities for the people that we are with to score major points. You know,
Okay.
how fantastic would it feel for your guy to be like, okay, I see we need to meditate for a little while. We
Yeah.
need to calm down. I'm gonna fix you some tea,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not leaving you. We're going to do this together.
Yeah. That's
You
beautiful.
know,
And
yeah,
I think that it's for me it's creating that space where I can I can trust that maybe that will either be seen or I can ask for it. which we talked a
Hmm.
little bit about. Um, but there's something about the proactiveness. Like I'm looking from the other end. If my partner I know is traveling a lot or has where their edge is, and I know that this is where they're going to need some of this
Hmm.
nurturing, to do it without even saying anything, and
Mm.
to just expect that honoring love in that moment means taking care of a need without them knowing you're taking care of that need.
Yeah, yeah. That that is a very feminine way of being.
Okay,
That doesn't always translate to masculine, you know.
say
It
more about that.
can,
Say more about that.
uh, it can, the masculine energy, and we're just talking about masculine and feminine. It could be gay, lesbian, straight, whatever.
Yeah, we all have
Um,
masculine, we all have feminine, so we're not talking about necessarily man woman, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. Um, the the masculine energy is more focused on one thing at a time, and I know my personal experience has been like working, 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 and then looking up and like, oh, no, I missed something. I totally missed an opportunity to, love or take care in this moment.
Hmm.
And um, and both are not a place that need to be shamed or, made wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's to be more from that point on, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I have, in my totally drained feminine place, I'm wanting someone to know that, I need my back rubbed or something like that,
Yeah, I want that cup of tea when I walk through the door. Please, God, give me a cup of tea. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
And it kind of takes uh, the feeling of connection out when I have to verbalize
Yeah,
that,
it
like
can.
that connection that um, I want to feel close to someone is expressed through me not having to say that I want my back rub, but just noticing that I need my back rub.
Which is interesting because we've talked before about how communication and verbalizing things is so important. And now
Hmm.
we're really talking about how doing things non verbally is important. Um,
Noticing, yeah, just being
Noticing.
more aware.
Hmm. So, what are some practical ways to start to cultivate that in ourselves? Because there are so many of us who we have our list of to-dos, we have our schedule for every day of the week. We get up at this time, we take the kids to school, we like do all this stuff. Um,
Mhm.
at our office, we are the busiest people on the planet. How do we start to really like get outside of that and to start to notice our partner?
Sharing the schedule, and just talking about, I'll be working for a week somewhere else, and I know that I will be drained by Thursday.
Hmm.
Uh, it would be great to have if you could have tea waiting for me or something like that when I get home,
So,
or
what
or
comes up?
what can I do
Okay.
to make things easier for you? What can I do to um, help with this process? Or
I'm
what would you need this or where?
Yeah, what's coming up for me is that request of, you know what, I'm going and doing this. When I get back, if I could have tea, it would really serve me. Could kind of be like an expectation that you're putting out there and an opportunity to really feel like you've let me down. I don't care about your hard day that you just had and how sick our kid is. I just walked through the door and I requested of you to please give me some tea. Is it so
Right,
hard? I'm
right.
wondering if it isn't more about, and tell me what you think about this, having that same conversation, but doing it from
Mhm.
a place of like the overarching. Like when I am in this space, I'm really needing nourishing. These are A, B, C, and D ways that would really be helpful for me.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and that is also just that right there is another opportunity to go over communication.
Yeah.
If from a guy, I need specific details of on Friday, she will need tea on Saturday. You know,
Okay.
but you're like, let's make it overarching. rule, and both are great. Both are great.
So I
Um,
love this. So what we're looking at from your perspective, from this male perspective, you're like, please, let's put this in my calendar so that 10 minutes before you're supposed to arrive home, I have it ready. And as a woman, I'm like, don't put that rule on me, but let me
mhm.
just do it. You know, I love
Yeah,
that.
the more flowing of the feminine.
Huh. That's really cool. I love that perspective. Thank you. um, so, what I'm really enjoying right now is that we're talking about how to non verbally connect and how to non verbally nourish and take care of needs of our partner. And it's going back to full circle to having to talk about it first.
Yeah, there is. It's not linear. It's all in a whole. You know.
That's so cool. So I guess the point there is like communication, communication, communication.
Yeah,
So,
and the more you verbally communicate,
mm-hmm.
the deeper your intuition will be with each other,
Hmm,
and so forth and so on.
yeah,
Like an intertwining kind of thing. Like so it could become where on Friday she needs this to a few times after that. Okay, whenever I saw her like this is what she felt like, and this is what she looked like. Okay, now she needs tea.
that's
So it's
cool.
like it's
Practice.
the repetition kind of like trains each other on how to
Hmm.
attune each other.
So, what I'm hearing is that be patient.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
yourselves
Be
time to,
and come from your heart as much as possible.
yeah, it's so important.